Hi everyone, so I am here today with Lenny Krayzelburg. Lenny, you don't need an introduction, but can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your history and accomplishments in the sporting world?
Yeah, my name is Lenny Krayzelburg, four-time Olympic gold medalist in swimming. I won 3 Olympic gold medals in Sydney, Australia in 2000, and a gold medal on the relay in Athens in 2004. Obviously been part of the swimming world for many years. Growing up as a young kid in the Ukraine, I started to swim, and when I came to the US, obviously that's how I continued and eventually was able to reach great heights in the sport.
All right, I can see you still keep up to date with your swimming and fitness now, hey? Tell us a little bit more about what you've been doing in the sporting world of lately. I know we're here at a Lenny school, so.
Yeah, since I retired in 2004, I was trying to figure out what would be the next transition in my life, and I started Lenny Krayzelburg Swim Academies. We're actually here at one of our academies in LA, and really our primary focus with our academies is water safety. This is what we really focus on. However, we've been able to develop a curriculum that really teaches the safety aspect of it, as well as teaching all 4 swimming strokes, and then giving kids an opportunity to pursue swimming more seriously if they choose to do so.
Sportamix is a new initiative and moving forward. Tell us a little bit more about your involvement with such a program.
So I was approached with Sportamix a couple of months ago. Actually, a friend of mine is involved with the company, a friend of mine that I grew up with here in LA. And it was just an interesting concept. It's a unique concept that I haven't encountered before. And really the goal is where you're trying to connect athletes with coaches and potentially universities and maybe even agents. I think it's a unique concept in the sports world.
In the swimming world too.
Yeah, that is needed. And it also be able to create that direct connection with athletes, and I think that's really important.
For yourself, growing up in the UK and before you came to the States, do you think something like Sportamix would have been very useful to you, especially when you arrived here and you were looking for that next professional step?
For me personally, I came as a kid, so it's a little bit different. However, I think right now, if you look at athletes from around the world, especially teenagers, and as they're getting a little bit older, obviously majority of them are not known. No one knows about them. They could excel incredibly in their own sports. However, there's no way to communicate, or there's no way for them to be known of who they are, what their accomplishments are, what they excel in. So I think creating a platform like this is a perfect medium to be able to give the athletes an opportunity to basically share their resume. You know, even as a teenagers, this is their resume as an athlete, and to be able to put that out there for the public to see, I think it's an incredible, thought out concept.
Right. Can you foresee in the future Sportamix having a major impact on your engagement with potential up-and-coming athletes and swimmers?
I think Sportamix can have an incredible impact on how athletes and coaches and universities are going to be able to connect with each other. Obviously, if we're looking at the US sports and how popular collegiate sports are in this country, a lot of the coaches are starting to really keep an eye on athletes at age of 15, 16, 17, and here's an opportunity with this platform to be able to really engage that connection relatively early on in early teenage years, and for coaches to really be able to track the progress of the athletes, which by the time there is a decision to be made, then they can make more educated decision because they've seen the progress.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that you had a friend that you've grown up with in LA who's involved in Sportamix. How did this friend approach you? How did you first find out about it?
So a friend of mine that I grew up with here in LA approached me about it. This was a concept he was getting behind and thought it was a great idea. He shared it with me. He shared the vision of it. Considering I've been in the sporting world for many years and have went through it myself as an athlete, have also follow the sports, follow the next generation of athletes, how they get recognized and kept track of. I just felt like this is a really interesting concept that no one has really thought about it in the past that could really be successful.
So since we're entering the kind of sports agents realm, would you say a platform like Sportamix makes your job easier?
As a coach, Sportamix is a perfect setting. As a coach, Sportamix is a perfect platform to be able to keep an eye on up-and-coming athletes and also establish an initial connection and relationship. You know, when we talk about success, whether it's at a collegiate level, whether it's at a professional level, it's all about connection. It's all about having a really good synergy between the coach and an athlete. And the sooner you can build that, the better it is. And when a coach, for example, is recruiting collegiate athletes, if he or she already has a bond that they've built over a few years with an athlete, I just think it makes their decision a little bit easier to pursue potential offer or invite them to participate.
What would you say the biggest opportunity is that Sportamix can give a young athlete?
I believe Sportamix can really provide an opportunity for an athlete to be known, to share their successes, to share their progress as an athlete, to share their results. That's I think what young athletes are looking for. That's what young athletes are seeking, is to be able to have a platform that they can, as I said, put their resume, their athletic resume on display, and allow for, you know, coaches and agents and people that are decision makers to be involved. Yeah. See them.
Would you have seen yourself, Lenny, using Sportamix when you were entering the professional field?
When I was a youngster or a teenager, I definitely would have taken advantage of Sportamix if it was around, because I was a relatively average swimmer, but I had potential. And you know, if I would have had that platform, at least more coaches would have known about me and given a chance on me. I really was not recruited by universities because at that time I wasn't fast enough. But when I had a chance to train at USC with a coach during summertime, I was already by that time going into my sophomore year in college. He noticed the talent. See, and then he was offered me an opportunity and a scholarship. But you know, if I would have had maybe a relationship early on, maybe my times didn't necessarily reflect how good I could be. But the work ethic, the relationship building, he would have seen that.
Absolutely. And that's coming from an Olympic medalist right here, ladies and gentlemen. So can you describe the relationship you have with the team that you do at your swimming schools?
So here at the swimming schools, our primary focus is learn to swim. However, we do have a pre-swim team as well as a competitive team that I'm involved with. And again, what's been great about my company is that we offer a progression from very little kids all the way up to teenagers that are interested in pursuing, you know, their interest in the sport of swimming. And for me, it's all about providing the opportunity and the platform and being able to hire right people that they can mentor and guide these teenagers to pursue their dreams. So I'm really fortunate to be in that position where we can impact lives this way.
In your opinion, how far can Sportamix take a young athlete?
I believe Sportamix can take an athlete from its infancy in terms of age-wise to a success at a world-class level. I've talked multiple times about having opportunities and being able to meet or be matched with the right coach where you can build a relationship. I know that for me personally, I attribute a lot of my success to the relationship I had with my coaches. I really believe that is crucial to the success of an athlete, because you spend so much time training that you need to be able to do that under the guidance and under the supervision and mentorship of someone that you really have a great relationship with.
So tell us a little bit more about what you think people in the sports industry have to look forward to when Sportamix launches.
For people in the sports industry, they can really look forward to a chance to learn more about athletes that they might not have known about, especially considering that the platform will have a worldwide reach, which I think is incredible. So you could be having coaches and agents, people involved in sports here in the U.S. that would have not known about an athlete in Bulgaria or somewhere, let's say, in the Middle East even, some of the great athletes that come from there. But here, with this platform, there's a chance to find out about someone that has an opportunity to excel. What they need is an opportunity. And I think the platform, Sportamix, really provides that opportunity for connection and to be known.
At what time in an athlete's career would you suggest they start looking for somebody to form that cohesive relationship that you talked about?
I believe it's important that the athletes start really thinking about their career seriously around age of 12 to 13. I think that's the time that you want to start building relationships with coaches. It's time that you want to be known or let the world know about you, especially if you're ready and willing and focused on pursuing dreams of achieving greatest heights in the sporting world.
So at that age where an athlete is now entering that professional stage at 11 or 12, how can a platform like Sportamix really engage the parents and make sure that they're involved in this process, to make sure that everything is legit and organized and up to date and speed?
Considering that the Sportamix will allow younger athletes to be able to create profiles and to be able to start sharing their resume, again, I've mentioned resume a number of times, I think it also obviously involves the parents quite a bit, especially with younger athletes. Really, the parent controls the narrative in terms of the information that will be put up there, in terms of communication that potentially I would imagine initially even a parent will have with a coach or with someone in the sporting world. So really, this is a great way to bridge the gap between the family. Let's talk about the family in general, and then people in the sporting world. And obviously, Sportamix will allow the parents to be intimately involved in this process, especially when when they have younger athletes that might not be able to do it themselves yet, or just from a comfort level as a parent, from a security standpoint, you have an opportunity for a parent to really be just very involved in the process.
So Sportamix, we've talked a lot about athletes growing up and going into sports. What about para-athletes? Does Sportamix provide a platform that will be unique and beneficial to them as well?
What's unique about Sportamix is that it provides same access and same exposure to para-athletes as they do able-bodied athletes. And I think that's what's great, because unfortunately sometimes para-athletes are kind of the forgotten demographic, and only they have harder means to be able to access training opportunities and be able to be connected in the sporting world. And here you have a chance with Sportamix platform is to be able to be just as much on the forefront as able athletes, and on even terms or even opportunities to be able to really show themselves and be able to create their own opportunities for themselves.
That's awesome. So you definitely say that Sportamix leads more towards a social impact and a change in the entire sporting community, not just focused on professional athletes only.
Yeah, as I'm looking at a Sportamix as a platform, it's definitely socially impactful platform, because it's very inclusive. I'm trying to bring everyone into the mix to create this social platform that really gives opportunities for everyone.
If a young athlete is lost and a bit confused as to where to go to build their professional career, where would you suggest they go as a reputable Olympic athlete?
As an Olympic athlete, or those that are professional athletes that have retired, Sportamix again provides a unique platform for them to continue to stay relevant. It's all about being relevant and how long you can be relevant. When you're talking and when you're looking at a professional athlete that has had success, they're able to share their knowledge with the up and coming generation. And again, uniqueness of this platform is to be able to connect everyone together and to be able to connect former professional athletes to up and coming athletes and see if there is some type of synergy that can be created, whether it's training tips, consulting, some type of mentoring sessions, but certainly an opportunity to build the bond and be able to mentor the next generation. So that's another thing that is very unique about Sportamix, is the opportunity for former athletes to be relevant, or to stay relevant.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I love, and I know I apply that myself in the entertainment world, is the synergy and the relationship building is a core fundamental element of any professional success. So I just think it would be very nice if you could give us, Lenny, perhaps a little bit of advice you'd give for somebody who is training and looking to become more professional. What advice would you give a young athlete?
Personally, the advice I would give to any young athlete is to focus on your long-term goal. It's really important that you do that, because in preparation to achieving your long-term goal, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. There's going to be challenges, there are going to be wins and losses, but the focus, the eye need to be kept on what do you ultimately want to achieve in the sport that you're in. And I think sometimes it gets lost in the mix, the journey. It's not as much about the destination, but it's the journey, and it's having really focused journey. Where are you trying to get, and how do you go through that journey? That's really important. That's one of the key messages that I would always give to any young up and coming athlete.
Well, I think that's all. But everybody, Lenny Krayzelburg, thank you very, very much.